I approach practice and I teach practitioners what's called a 5R approach to health. So that's just general health. And the first R is actually remove. So I find that what a lot of people do is they're eating all of these foods that are aggravating their condition, whatever that is, right? So if you have candida, for example, which is a yeast overgrowth, the big things you want to cut out is sugar. That's like number one. So sugar, alcohol, beer and wine are especially problematic. You find that wheat and gluten aggravates that as well. You want to basically remove these things so that you stop feeding the yeast or the bacteria or whatever it is. And I think a lot of people forget that because they just kind of keep eating the things that are aggravating them. And then they keep wondering, what do I add? Right. So now we're taking like boatloads of supplements and we're eating a bit of broccoli and telling ourselves, well, is the broccoli good for us? So the first R is always remove. Okay. And then the second R is going to be replace. And so we might look at, again, as I said earlier, replacing processed foods with whole foods. Okay, so that's one example. Replacing our, things in our diet with probiotic foods, with fermented foods, and that sort of thing. And I think that's a good, that's a good 101, basic step that you can do. And from there, you can kind of, go off the deep end and decide supplementation-wise and everything else that you would like to do.
I love that. So what I heard you say was like remove sugar, remove the alcohol, replace processed foods with whole foods, and drink water. So just simple, basic stuff to get started.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think people just forget about the basics. We live in a world that's so saturated with information that it just takes 5 minutes on Google and you're down some rabbit hole trying to piece all of it together. So I think people really need to just get back to the basics there. And it's a good start.